Hey Ellis County, Kevin Crouch here, and I want to bring you a new segment called the Tuesday Tips. And this segment will vary. Sometimes it's going to be more serious topics, sometimes it's going to be just kind of fun stuff here and there. But we are getting into severe weather season. If you've been following the page, we already have a potential for severe storms coming up on Wednesday. I thought I had a couple more weeks to prepare, but it's Texas and we're ready to roll. So I am joined by Samantha Pickett. She is the emergency management coordinator, correct?
Mm-hmm, for Ellis County.
For the county. So I'm really delighted to have you because you're one of the top authorities in terms of preparedness and response and those kind of things. And I'm really happy that we're able to work together to keep people informed and keep people ready, because readiness is about all we have when those severe weather situations happen. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here. So
thanks for having me.
Yeah, the first thing I want to talk about is something that is contentious, and there's a lot of debate and miscommunication and misinformation and old understanding versus new policies and those kind of things. We were just talking about how really it's just kind of a time thing, how we've kind of evolved how we handle severe weather in North Texas, and it's the outdoor sirens, commonly called sirens, but the fact of the matter is they're really not exclusive to tornadoes anymore. And so could you talk a little bit about kind of how that evolved over time and basically where we are now with kind of what the standardized guidance is?
Yeah, I mean, previously in the past, the people, took the outdoor warning sirens, that's what they are, but tornado sirens, not as an all hazards approach of how it used to be, back in the Cold War era. You had the duck and cover and all that, and it kind of just metamorphed into, okay, there's an outside threat and we need you guys to come indoors. We call them outdoor warning sirens because we don't necessarily activate for just tornadoes. When it comes down to other severe weather, when the winds are really high and that has the potential to uproot trees or break limbs and cause bodily harm or property damage. Even with hail breaking windows at a certain size, we want you guys to come indoors. And I know there's a multiple of criterias that we have for the outdoor warning sirens, but as far as tornadoes, we want to put that thing in the past.
Absolutely. I mean, in tornadoes, when it comes down to it, sometimes that's the one thing that can get people to come inside. Mm-hmm. Not all of us. You always have those people that go outside and want to see it. I've had a few of you confess to me, stop it, go inside, get in your safe spot like I told you to. As we were talking about, though, the county doesn't regulate those sirens, and so there's different criteria in different towns. Mm-hmm. And I have some notes here. I have communicated with different officials across the county to kind of explore that and to kind of understand some of the different perspectives on it. And so, for example, the city of Midlothian follows the North Central Texas Council of Governments, their guidance, which is hail 1.5 inches in diameter or more. They're also automatically activated when a tornado warning polygon is issued. I really like that. There's other, I think there's also certain wind speeds, I think 70 miles per hour.
70 miles per hour, yep.
That are activated for there. And then Waxahachie is really similar. They're not automatically activated, but they do manually activate those for a tornado sighting by spotters or first responders. Like I said, 1.25 inch hail, 70 mile an hour winds, and then both of those, of course, as well. If there's some kind of non-weather related but still dangerous emergency or disaster of some sort outdoors, they'll activate it for that as well. One example of kind of an outlier in terms of that guidance is the city of Ennis. I communicated and confirmed with them today that they only activate those for confirmed tornadoes. And what I've found and what I've kind of seen discussed in the chat with those live feeds and those kind of things occasionally is that with that differing guidance, if you have one expectation over another, or you have one understanding over another, if they're issuing, or rather activating these sirens for hail or high winds, but no tornado comes, and you're still expecting that it's tornado sirens, you may start to kind of ignore those, unfortunately, and not take them for what they're worth. And so one thing I would say is that you're not supposed to hear them inside, right? They're outdoor, like you said, they're outdoor sirens.
Correct.
They're to bring you inside. And I've had multiple folks tell me, of course, that if there's a major outdoor event, for example, the Texas Country Reporter or the Midlothian Back to School event that was rained out while I was very calmly sitting there eating some Frito pie because, what else can you do? Trying to keep the canopy above me from falling in. And so when there's those larger events, sometimes they're going to be a little more cautious with that. But I liked what the North Texas Council of Governments put on their website. In big bold letters, it says a supplemental warning source, right? I mean, it's not supposed to be your primary, but so many people wait to hear those sirens. And so I want to give you a chance to talk a little bit about the county's notification system that has been praised on the page as effective, and people like that. I'm all for whatever. If I have to throw a rock at somebody's window to let them know there's a tornado going on, I want to do that. Just talk a little bit about that system and how people can get signed up for that.
Absolutely. So the counties, we actually don't have any outdoor warning sirens that we manage. So like Kevin said, it is per jurisdiction. And the thing that we have on, conflicting information on how to operate. But one thing that is consistent is the mass notification system with smart weather. So whenever the National Weather Service issues a polyground for our area or a warning, the mass notification alert goes out to all of you guys. And when you sign up, you can sign up for text, call, or email, or even all three. So it doesn't matter what city you're in, and what kind of guidelines they have, no matter what, you're getting notified. So you're notified to come indoors and seek additional information through news media outlets.
Perfect. Well, I will say the positive comment I saw was that they signed up for all three and got all three, so they couldn't miss it. I mean, it was, it was very, very evident, to them when their phone was blowing up that this was issued. And I'm cool with that because these are things that you don't want to miss. And if you're like me, you can get pretty focused in on what you're doing, right, and kind of shut out the world. Right. Sometimes you need some alarm bells to sound. But those outdoor sirens, just keep in mind that those are not there to be your initial source of information, and they're not meant to let you know when you're inside. If you're inside, be checking those text alerts or be following my stream or whatever the case might be. Weather, radio, those kind of things, and I'll go through a lot of that through the series as well. But just make sure that you're prepared to get those warnings, because those outdoor sirens just are not supposed to be what you rely on to get your first information. So just to kind of recap, Midlothian, Waxahachie, you're getting those kind of that broader guidance as far as large damaging hail, strong winds, and the National Weather Service actually just recently updated their severe thunderstorm warnings too, to where there's some new structure there in terms of severity, which has never been done before, and I'll do a segment on that too, so you're informed. And then if you're in Ennis, it's just a confirmed tornado, so it's a little more specific, and the guidance is a little more tight as far as when those are sounded. So check with your local city officials to make sure you know what is being communicated with those outdoor sirens. Those are tested regularly as well. That's canceled if it's inclement weather and that kind of thing, so that it's not confusing. But I know Waxahachie, it's Wednesday, the first Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I think.
So it's pretty regular with the same on our jurisdictions. We do try to have it on the same day and on the same week. So it's the first Wednesday of every month. The times could vary between noon or 1, depending on which jurisdictions it is. So
cool. And if there is testing going on and you're outside and you don't, you hear the siren very distant, but you don't sufficiently hear it, and you're in a city. Maybe tell the city that you think you need one of those sirens closer to you, because I've been in parts of town where I was outside, it was Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and I'm going, I don't hear anything. Yeah, you're right. And I can hear it in the distance, but when there's a storm approaching, or especially happening, you're not really going to hear that distant sound. So
Right.
what would you recommend as far as if people do have that concern that they don't have a siren close enough to them, do they just go to their city council and address that, or just to
Yeah.
the emergency managers?
Either one. So you can go to your emergency manager and let them know, because there could be a failure when they're doing a testing, and they're probably working to get the situation fixed. Or they can take that information to bring it to the council so they know what kind of area coverage that they're not hitting or they are hitting. And then also the type of siren, if it's 360 overview, or if it's certainly placed in one way, but specifically placed where it sounds like it's 360. It depends on what type of siren it is. So
Cool. With all the growth in Ellis County, I'm sure there's places that may not quite have one
Yep.
yet, but I can only imagine the task it is to try to keep up with all that growth with those things included. So, Samantha, thank you so much for joining me for this segment. And like I said, we'll be working together in the future. So make sure you're following the Emergency Management Office's Facebook and their website and all those kind of things, because they do share important information. I know that the Office of Emergency Management doesn't sound like the most exciting thing, but they really are one of the most important agencies in our area, and Samantha's doing a fantastic job over there. So stay tuned for more segments of the Tuesday Tips. If there's something you want to know about, be sure to let me know that. I've got another segment coming up on Wednesday that I think you're going to enjoy as well. It's always my mission to keep folks informed, and so just comment with whatever questions you might have, and I'll see if I can make a segment on that too. So stay safe, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.